A warm welcome to the final episode of the first season of SciencePunk Explains the Frame Budget Approach. In the last episode, we looked what a system can actually see or measure at all. Now we bring the first season together and ask, what have all these concepts actually given us in concrete terms? So over these past 11 episodes, we've really been building a whole new conceptual language, haven't we? We've thrown around all these terms: accounting, boundary, channel, budget, time, irreversibility. The list goes on. So for this finale, the question is a big one, but it's simple. What has it all actually given us? What's the real payoff? To figure that out, here's our plan. First, we'll take a look at the toolkit we've spent this season assembling. Then, we'll dig into the gains, both conceptually and methodologically. After that, we'll ask a pretty bold question. Is the FBA hinting at a new physical structure? Then we'll do an honest assessment of where things stand before looking ahead to Season 2, which is, well, it's going to be a stress test. Okay, let's get started with Section 1, assembling the toolkit. Because that's really what we've been doing this season. We weren't just hopping from topic to topic, we were carefully crafting a new set of tools to think with. Tool number 1 is the frame. You can just think of it as our snapshot of the world. It's not the entire universe, but an operationally accessible slice of it. The piece we can actually get our hands on and analyze. It's our starting point. Then we have the budget. Now, this isn't about money, of course. In the FBA, a budget is all about accountability. It's the rigorous bookkeeping of what any change, any realized step, actually costs. It's what keeps development structured instead of being some kind of chaotic free-for-all. And our third key tool is the channel. Again, not a physical thing, but a formal concept. It's how we talk about permissible interactions, how systems are coupled, how they have access to one another. It's really the way that change becomes visible in the first place. So when you put it all together, here's the toolkit we've built this season. You've got time as the readability of change, a new way to think about irreversibility, the accounting boundary, and a focus on testability. All of it, even measurement itself, seen as a real interaction. It's a pretty powerful set of instruments we've got now. All right, so we've got this shiny new toolkit. But hey, a toolkit is only useful if you can actually build something with it, right? So what new work can we do now? Let's get into the concrete gains. You can really split the gains into two big buckets. First, the conceptual shifts, how we think about things. Time isn't just this river flowing in the background anymore. It's the readability of actual change. A minimal event is just one click. And maybe, just maybe, irreversibility is a basic feature of the universe. Then you've got the methodological tools, how we do things. Our budget calculus forces clean bookkeeping. We treat measurement as a real physical interaction. It sharpens everything up. And really, that's what it comes down to so far. The FBA is a structuring perspective. It's meant to help us formulate problems in a much cleaner, more operationally sound way. Think of it like putting on a new pair of glasses that brings the fuzzy edges of a problem into sharp focus. But is it just a new perspective? Or does the FBA maybe hint at something deeper, maybe even new physics? This is where we step into more speculative territory, but it's also where things get really, really exciting. Okay, so one of the coolest ideas to come out of the FBA is something called path burial. Imagine you're trying to retrace your steps in a forest. With every interaction, a broken twig, a footprint, you change the environment. The more you interact, the more the potential paths back to your starting point kind of thin out or get buried. That's path burial. It's the FBA's way of describing how irreversibility might happen on a practical level. Now, I have to be super clear here. Path burial is a working hypothesis. It is not a new law of nature. It doesn't say that an exact return is absolutely impossible. It's a way of reading this growing asymmetry, this difficulty in reconstruction. It's a very powerful idea, but it's one that still needs to be tested. And this way of thinking lets us reframe something as fundamental as the second law of thermodynamics, the arrow of time. From the FBA perspective, the arrow of time might not need to be its own separate postulate. Instead, it could be a natural consequence of information being lost in open systems. It emerges from the accounting itself, which is a pretty profound thought. So, with these big ideas out there, it's a good time to take a step back and have an honest assessment. Where does the frame budget approach actually stand today? What's solid ground? And what's still a bit shaky? Look, we can draw a pretty clear line. What's solid is that the FBA is a strong ordering scheme. It gives us this really robust framework for clarifying concepts like time and measurement. It forces us to ask sharper questions. That's a huge win. But then you have these test-dependent hypotheses, things like path burial. These are genuine, exciting scientific hypotheses, but they live or die by experiments and null tests. And we have to keep this in mind. Not every elegant reformulation is more than just, well, conceptual housekeeping. And the FBA is committed to being more than that. It's about being falsifiable, about being testable. That self-criticism is baked right in, and frankly, that's what makes it good science. And that brings us perfectly to what's next, to Season 2. Because now that we've built the toolkit and we've evaluated it, it's time to take it to the proving ground. It's time for the stress test. And oh man, what a proving ground it's going to be. We're going to throw the FPA at some of the toughest problems out there: quantum measurement, tunneling, optical clocks. We'll even look at open quantum systems, black holes, and cosmology. For each of these, we're going to ask, what does the FPA have to say, and how could we prove it wrong? This is where things get really serious. So let's wrap up this whole season with a few key takeaways. Number 1, time is not a background flow. It's a measure of real, countable change. 2, bookkeeping is physics. Budget and channel aren't just metaphors. They are real operational tools. 3, measurement is an interaction, full stop. It's tied to access and boundaries. And finally, number 4, right now, the FBA's greatest strength is that it's an incredible question generator. It gives us a new lens to ask sharper questions. In Season 2, we send the FBA into its first real stress test. And that is where it will become clear whether the FBA merely redescribes classical problems or whether they actually look different under its underlying logic. That's the big question we're going to tackle. Bye until next season, and stay curious.